everyone, and welcome to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am Vince.
And finally, Vince has seen Iron Man 2, and it's time to review Iron Man 2. Now, Vince, you just saw it like an hour ago, right?
Yeah.
What are your first thoughts? You start.
Not bad.
That was exactly my reaction. Not bad.
It's the thing. The first movie was like a sleeper. We didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know it was going to be good. So we went in there and we were completely blown away because we thought we were going to see a not bad movie.
That's right.
Or at least a potentially not bad movie.
Or another superhero movie.
Yeah. Something that's going to be fun, maybe waste your time.
And it turned out to be way more than that.
Yeah, but in this one, you walk in with expectations and immediately you know what they're trying to do.
That's right.
They're trying to meet what they did from the last one. Not necessarily in same quality, but give the audience what they liked about the first one again.
Now, wonderfully,
only more of it.
Now, wonderfully, it is a different movie. And I'm glad that they weren't just trying to make it again. I mean, it is a different movie, and that's very good about it. But yeah, the sad part is that there are things I almost want to criticize about this movie, but they're not really problems. It's almost like I'm sad because I had to have expectations with this movie. You know what I mean? It's almost like, unfortunately, I've seen Robert Downey Jr. do this before, and so I know what it's going to be like. And it's like the old adage, you can never do anything for the first time again.
Yeah.
And that's sad. And so you know, I would almost say I wish I had never seen Iron Man, the first Iron Man, in seeing this film, but then that wouldn't make sense either. You know what I mean? So, so I don't know. Vince, it was good, and yet I found myself disappointed. And
I thought it dragged. I kind of got bored toward the middle.
Did you?
I'm thinking, man, I wish something would happen that's not exactly what is happening. It's the most absurd feeling that I've ever had watching a movie. I went, meh. Like, okay, I understand it's not bad, but meh.
Yeah. Yeah, you felt indifferent to it?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you had the same reaction as me, because very often we go to these kind of movies and one of us loves it and one of us hates it. So this is really, or we both love it. But this is really interesting. Or we both hate it, like Halloween.
We both have the same indifference.
But I don't remember us ever both being, well, that was okay. And once again, I mean, I don't even think it was subpar. I mean, I would go as far as to say it's an excellent movie, but I saw the first one and it was more excellent. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
What about it did you like? Let's start there with what we like about the movie.
Okay. Tony Stark's character arc is better than the first movie.
Yeah.
I love Tony Stark's character arc in this. I love the place he begins at the beginning. If you didn't read anything, if you didn't do any research, it comes kind of out of left field, and that makes a whole lot of sense. Oh, he's dying? Really? Really? That's interesting. And it's always interesting, having to deal with a main character who's dying, you know? and so it's going along, and he's falling on his face, and he knows he is, but he's doing it anyway, because it's sort of, you know, what do you do if you're going to die? He does whatever he wants to, and he makes himself look like a complete idiot. And I love that. I like the fact that they were able to take parts of, not that I've read it, but I mean, I'm assuming this has to be the source material where it came from. I like that they were able to take parts of Demon in the Bottle and not do Demon in the Bottle. You know what I'm talking about? Where they kind of went, okay, we want to address the whole him drinking a lot without him just being an alcoholic. It's not the Tony Stark is an alcoholic movie. And yet, the point where he's at his bottom, he's totally crazy drunk.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, a little bit, I'm gonna disagree with you just a little. I didn't necessarily like the fact that he was dying, but I didn't necessarily hate it. Mm-hmm. Reason being is I felt that I'd seen it before. The only thing that I felt was interesting about it was that we get to see somebody dying who's Tony Stark.
Yeah. And
Tony Stark, he's always interesting because we see this eccentricity applied to a guy who's a super genius. So, in fact, there's points in the movie where I found myself thinking, why is he acting this eccentric?
Oh wait, it's Tony Stark.
And the funny thing is, I had that reaction, oh wait, it's Tony Stark, but then I asked myself, is that good enough?
Oh.
Because I couldn't necessarily, you can see
I think the fact that he's dying means it is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they even say that at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's this eccentric because, well, and remember, I saw it last week, you just saw it. I can't remember who it was who said it to him. Somebody at some point says to him, you know, if you're dying, then wouldn't you just do whatever it is you want to do? And that's when he throws that party.
Yeah, that's Black Widow.
Is it Black Widow who says that? Yeah, I
Granted, he was going to throw the party anyway.
Right, but he probably wasn't going to wear his Iron Man suit and get drunk, okay?
Yeah, and I liked that. I thought, wow.
I like that too. Now, we're going to sidetrack a little bit for just a second because I got to ask you this, but then we should get back into the, Tony Stark character stuff. How did you feel about that Iron Man War Machine fight? That seems so absurd to me. I loved it. It was hilarious, but I also kept finding myself thinking, really?
They did it for a specific reason that I don't want to really give because it ruins part of the movie. But it does come back later, the reason they did that.
Yeah. And
it completely catches me. It caught me off guard. I don't know about you. But I had the exact same reaction. Why is this here? I mean, I'm enjoying it, but why?
Yeah, because it was funny, and it was fun to look at, but it just seemed like an excuse to break a bunch of stuff.
And I like that they almost started in the boxing ring area. That's funny.
Oh, that's true. That is funny. Yeah, my biggest reaction is this movie is hilarious. Yeah. And then I didn't have a lot more reaction after that. It was sort of like, and also, this is not to say that there's no story in here and that it has nothing to say, because that's not true. And like I said, the direction they took Tony Stark's character, I cared about him. I was interested. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I felt like the movie was a little superfluous. I didn't know if I felt like this isn't it. The first Iron Man, I was like, I'm so glad we have this. And this movie, I was like, it was fun. But is it necessary?
I felt like the movie was trying too hard to be cute. Trying to play up his witticisms, trying to make the movie reflect his witticisms.
Because the first movie didn't have to do that. I mean, they were just there.
Even in the big fight scenes, they have moments where they stopped to do these little funny things. And not necessarily that the action stopped because we knew it was going on off of camera.
Right.
But the camera lingered. Like, I'm going to ruin one of the jokes.
Oh, okay. Don't listen if you haven't seen it and don't want a joke ruined. Go ahead.
Iron Man flies over a bunch of cars in a parking lot. Some of them go off. Their alarms go off, and then all of these other ones fly over, and then every one of them goes off.
I'll disagree. That was hilarious.
It was funny, but I felt like it stopped. I'm like, we're lingering here.
I was okay with that,
and they do it a few times in that same scene, though. Okay, so I'm just giving an example of what they did.
You're saying if that had been the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it makes something stand out. And I'm breaking my speech. I'm Captain Kirk, but as Christopher Walken. But anyway, it's...
There's a video in there somewhere.
That's creepy.
Good.
But stopping too many times, it's like the F word. If you say it too many times, it loses its meaning. So if you have too many witticisms, we say, yeah, that was really cute and funny, but I feel like I'm watching and or reading a joke book.
Yeah, that's funny. Sometimes the jokes did seem to get a little bit in the way, and I wouldn't even say it was badly paced. Really, in some ways, it was better paced than the first film. I was watching a YouTube video, so I guess I watched a review from a guy that I've been watching lately. He's got a channel called Quick Movie Reviews. I can't remember his name. He's Chris something rather. I think his reviews are very good. And he said that the first movie was almost like three movies. That you have Tony Stark in the cave, and then you have the middle part where he's learning how to be Iron Man, and then you have the end part where he's got to fight the big bad guy. And it was almost like there were three different. There were three different stories there. Now, I would say that's not really three different movies so much as it is like the most obvious, way to do 3 acts. It's 3 acts,
exactly.
It's 3 acts. But this movie, where the 3 acts are is not so obvious, so it's almost better paced in that sense.
Well, I would almost say that it was obvious where the 3 acts were just by watching the trailer. Or the trailers.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
So you knew exactly where they were coming, but it seemed to have a better flow to it. Mm-hmm. And that's such a horrible thing to say. Whenever you're reviewing something, never say better flow.
Just for future reference, never say better flow. I usually like to say pacing as opposed to flow, but...
So, yeah, it was paced better. It had the second act began in the first. The third act began in the second. So it went from one to the next. and without chopping.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Ironically, in contrast to the jokes.